Today we're going to the worldwide rally for peace and human rights and freedom. And our town here in Australia, Mackay, we're actually not listed as a gathering point for this rally, but some local people have decided to join in, and we're having our own little rally here anyway. So I thought I would go along as, okay, I guess an anonymous representative of a different way to see the ideas of peace and to see the ideas of freedom and human rights and everything. Because at one point, many years ago, I was quite a passionate advocate for world peace and all sorts of different causes that seemed to trigger me, and I did a lot of protesting and things like that. So today, even though it's not a protest, it's a rally, today will be interesting for me personally to see any reactions or any emotionality that I may have regarding my old dreaming, my old way of thinking and seeing the world as a place where I used to believe the world was my home, and that I had to fit in and had to make it a better place and all of these sorts of things. So as a spiritual aspirant now, having had an experience of non-temporal reality or enlightenment of my mind, looking at old ideas, then being willing to step out of my comfort zone, go and do and listen and learn and all these sorts of things is very, very valuable in showing me the truth of my efforts to transcend or to heal or to overcome these old ideas, these old ways. So in looking at the idea of world peace, it's like I hate to be the wet blanket, but it's impossible to have world peace. Absolutely impossible. The world is a place that was made for man to enter into, to have the experience of learning to make choices regarding the use of the potential contained within the idea of separation from source. It's a place where the running program for the experience is separation, but there is the ability within that to choose again for a better way, for a through the adoption of a new purpose, which is forgiveness, a new function, which is forgiveness. I'm going to forgive myself all of my thoughts about the world in the recognition that I don't know what the world is for. I don't know the meaning of life. I don't know anything. And that may be a little different in my situation because as a top-down enlightened mind, I have already experienced the meaning of life and all of these sorts of things, and am now about the process, if you like. It's almost like reverse engineering. I'm reverse engineering my own salvation. So whereas for most people who decide to pursue a spiritual avenue in life, there is a period of healing and transformation that occurs first, and that can be quite lengthy and involved and very emotional, as anyone who's participated in a true shedding of the ego will know. And then experiences along the way, hopefully the experience of the illumination or enlightenment of the mind at some point. So the idea then of world peace is not possible, but peace is possible within me. Peace is an attribute within me, and if I do not value it, if I do not want it, I will continue to find myself beset by the particulars of a world that reflect back to me opportunities to be triggered into thinking that I'm a victim, or that I'm subject to the dictates of other sorts of forces that are seemingly external to me, that have the capacity to rob me from my own sense of inner peace, which is not true. I'm doing this to myself. So Human rights, well, I don't think I need to really go too far into that, because human rights are all given by other humans and can therefore be taken away by other humans. And in a world, in a reality, or in a seeming reality where a meteorite can fall from the sky and wipe out all human life, or a volcano can go off in your backyard and destroy everything you've ever known, all of these things, human rights are something that are a fragile premise, at the very, very most. So, but I understand, that there has to be this kind of level playing field where we have this basic bottom line. And from a spiritual perspective, my bottom line is a choice that I make for my own inner peace in my decision to have it for myself and extend it to others, that I will not compromise. Right? Now, that may not seem like much, but when you begin to go forth in the adventure, let's say, of your life, and practice the interaction with all the various kinds of relationships with people, situations, and events that you have in your life, under that premise of maintaining and valuing only that inner peace within you, you'll begin to see shifts in not only your own way of thinking regarding those situations and relationships, but changes in the relationships themselves. And you'll begin to realize also that you are no longer triggered so much, and the triggers eventually fall away completely, because inner peace is perfectly possible within you. You'll begin to realize the changes in those relationships, that you'll say to yourself things like, oh, that used to really upset me when someone did something like that, or that person that always upset me by their actions or their words no longer upsets me, because in your own mind you've valued peace above all that, and have gone through the forgiving process of forgiving yourself for your judgments about those things that perpetuate the nature of those things in your life. And I know that sounds perhaps quite simplistic, but it is. It's very, very simple. And as far as freedom goes, well, you're free to pursue your salvation. That's it. Freedom as far as the idea of the liberation of humanity to go about and do what it wants is something that is never going to happen here, for the same reason that peace in the world on an external dais is also impossible. But salvation is a collaborative thing. You join together with others, and we're going to this rally today, but we join together in that idea of peace that is not of our own making, that does not come from us, but which is within us, which is a divine aspect of our true being, of our God's self. Altogether we are the Christ, one and all of us. That is the equality that we have and that we share in this world, not the potential of our situations individually or collectively within the world to try and establish some kind of hierarchy of what is equality and what isn't equality. Because the world's always changing. It'll never be successful, and every 4 or 5 years there'll be another kind of political upheaval, or a war, or a disaster, or a something that will necessitate to look at the whole situation again and again and again. And if you're a student of history and you go back as far as you want, since Cain killed Abel, if you're a biblical student of history, you only have to look back 3,000 years apparently. I don't mean to laugh, but it is kind of funny. But, the world is a place where you come to have the experience of separation. Don't expect it not to reflect that back to you. Don't expect it not to be chaotic and not to present to you everything that seems to be the opposite of unconditional love, because reality, or God, which is everything, is unconditional love. And God does not step in here to make changes, because this is a dream in the mind of in the Christ mind, where because of free will you are allowed to have the experience all you want. You're an eternal being, and 260 billion years or a trillion years is nothing in the blip of eternity. And as you come to realize the nature of life on the big picture, that you are eternal, that you can never die, like energy, you can only be transformed, you cannot be destroyed. You begin to look at what truly then is in your own best interests as far as the idea of the offering of salvation goes. And it's like, oh, salvation from this dimension, this paradigm, this experience, this dreaming, this recycling of the idea of life and death. So I'm interested today, I'm very interested actually, to go along and see just where it is that my mind is triggered. And I hope it is triggered, because I'd hate to think that I'm here for no reason. You know, I hope that there's something that pushes my buttons at this rally that will show me the opportunity within myself to heal another block to the awareness of love's presence within me, that will afford me a greater awareness of my true inheritance, which is the unconditional love of God that was shown to me in the enlightenment of my mind in 1997, and I've been working towards through the action of forgiveness ever since. Right? So revelation shows the truth, but the means are needed to reach it. So if you're someone like myself, let's say, who's had an experience of a non-temporal self, non-temporal reality, don't just sit back on your haunches and pontificate from that experience. That experience was something that was given you to push you into the work, to push you into the idea of, as it has pushed me, into the idea of the purification of the mind. That experience showed me the truth of my mind, which was perfectly peaceful and perfectly all-encompassing, and everyone and everything was included in that. And I find myself back here now making changes or making radical acts of forgiveness in my own thinking to true me up to what that experience showed me, thus bringing to a singular vibration my experience of myself here as an idea of perfect inner peace, or whatever you want to call it, and thus line up vertically with the vibration that was revealed to me as what life truly is, as singular in that experience. Right? So as above, so below. On earth, my singular vibration here can only be inner peace. That's how it's recognized in me. And it becomes more and more solid, more and more dependable as you practice it more and more. Get out of the comfort zone, go along to these things, embrace new relationships, new ideas, new things, just to see where you're at with it in your mind, if it triggers you or not, so you can forgive and bring your mind back to peace again and again and again, and so train your mind to do that for itself. And today, as I sit here on this beach, my mind is extremely peaceful, but I still find my feet on the earth, so I know that I still have a job to do. There's still more work to do, and when my work is done, I will simply lay this vessel aside and go on with the journey in my soul into the next dimension, bypassing the Bardo states, which has already been revealed to me, and going onward to whatever's next. And I could talk about that a little, but I really don't know enough about it to talk about it, so I'll just keep stum about it for now. So, all right, here's me mate, come to tell me it's time to stop talking, Dad. We need to go and have breakfast. So midday today, Saturday the 25th of July 2021, in your capital city around the world, in every capital city around the world, rally for peace, freedom and equal rights. So just turn up, let it be miraculous. All right, I love you. Thanks for listening.